Good morning. Back in the office this morning. We had our launch last night. Terrific night. We're back here today to clean up some emails, talk to some people online. Obviously, the weather hasn't been very kind to us today for the hustings. But I suppose today's about talking about the events of yesterday. The Liberal National Party announced a new hospital for Ballarat, which is probably a great incentive, really, when you consider we're that far behind in terms of regional investment in health. And the reality is that every year they've just continued to take money out of it, and they've used COVID as an excuse. This is the Dan Andrews' view of health, and you would think someone that's been in it for 12 years would have some understanding about preventative maintenance and making sure that we invest into regional health to make sure, especially in light of the unprecedented growth. But yesterday was a $200 million announcement. Georgie Crozier came up. We had Sammy McIntosh and Louise Staley, rural people, regional people that understand regional needs. And the disappointing thing is that you pick up the local media today and it's 14 pages back in the death seat with a very small story, and you just got to wonder, well, how do we get that message out there? And the reality is that we've gone through a number of health ministers over the last few years. In fact, the only queue that probably matches the queues at the hospital are failed health ministers. Whenever they want to build something up here or spend money, we get the health minister saying it's just going to be an empty shell and it's a waste of money, and then you can guarantee the next day they'll go down to the city and make some enormous announcement 10 times that size and call it a regional investment in health in the middle of town. And this is the problem, that city-centric mentality is not understanding the very real needs of country people. And Ballarat has become a hub for the Western District in terms of where people come for that extra service in terms of health, and that sort of specialised service where the clinicians have a broader array of options there to deal with people. And the fact is it's been overburdened for a number of years, and there just hasn't been enough investment. And we see this even in the latest budget where Dan Andrews pulls another $2 billion out of health and then gives us those forward forecasts about what he's going to do into the future. Well, I'm about actions, not words, and I find that pretty disheartening, that despite the fact that he has, we've seen it through COVID where he had that draconian approach to everything, and the amount of money that he spent on rail crossings and all of these things that, sure, they're important, but we've racked up about $167 billion worth of bills, and the fact is the country people have got nothing to show for it, and there's going to be a generational debt there, and the ghosts of Kane and Kerner are going to come back and haunt us. I mean, we well remember what happened then. It nearly broke the state. Well, it did break the state, really, and that was only $42 billion. If you rack up the promises in this election, we're over $200 billion. At least Matty Guy has got a view that if we shut down that Box Hill to Cheltenham rail system at $35 billion, we can put that back into the real needs of country people. We have a real commitment from both the Nats and the Libs to say that 25% of the infrastructure spend will go into the rural areas where it's desperately needed. So it is disappointing that we don't get the sort of media coverage that probably deserves, and lets people understand that we are working towards those back to basic type problems, our roads, our health, education, all these things that haven't been invested in, where they've been concentrating on shiny things. But at the end of the day, if you don't do the basic work at the bottom end of it, where the real needs of people are, that you end up with the disaster that we're in now, and it's time for a change. So in closing, I just want to go back to that simple motto, that a vote for me is actually a vote for you, because that's what I'm about. I'm about representing you. It's not about me.